Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to another Ionic Show. My name is Ben.
And I'm Max.
And 1.0 is out. So we're gonna get into that. We're also gonna do a Q&A. I posted on the forum a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago, asking for you guys' questions. And I said we would answer them. So we're gonna answer most of them today. So we're gonna get into that. We're also gonna talk about the Ionic Playground, which is a new tool that we just released this week. It's awesome. It allows you to code Ionic apps in the browser. It's really, really cool. We're also gonna talk about Ionic and Visual Studio, a new integration that we're really excited about. And then, the Ionic Shop, which is a new way to get swag. And then last but not least, definitely not least, beer.
Beer.
We're gonna talk all about beer. So stay tuned for that. Let's get the show started. All right, 1.0, it's out.
It's here.
We made it.
We survived.
We're alive.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that, sir.
1.0, it's a really, really big deal.
It is, and we're super excited about it. So let's talk about it. What are we getting with 1.0?
Well, the biggest thing about 1.0 is that there's not a whole lot of new stuff.
But it's super, super stable, and I think that's something that we need to talk about. Like, it's been in five release candidates have come out, and during most of those, really what the core team has been working on, and has been working super, super hard on, is cleaning up all of the remaining little bugs or things that weren't quite working right, improving performance. We've been working really, really hard to make sure that this version, the last version, this 1.0, is just the most stable version possible.
Right, it's just gonna work. We fixed a ton of bugs. We polished a bunch of little issues, and it's ready for everyone to use.
Yes, which is awesome. We could talk about a few things in it, a few newer things since the last time we spoke.
So one of the big things we've done is we've added native scrolling is finally ready to be used for most apps. If you're not using collection repeat, native scrolling will add a ton of performance to your apps, especially on Android. Right. Basically, we don't use JavaScript scrolling. If you enable it, you can do really long lists, fast scrolling. Everything's a lot faster. So definitely check out the native scrolling in 1.0.
And not to drive the point home any further, but if you're using an Android device, try out native scrolling.
Yeah,
it's so
please,
awesome.
Please.
For your sake.
And ours.
And ours. So some Windows Phone support.
Yeah. We threw the Windows Phone developers a bone.
We hear you. We hear all of you. You tell us that you want Windows support. We're working on it. It's hard to solve, but we're getting there. So 1.0 definitely comes with a lot more Windows Phone support. So I think you're going to really, really like that. We're really excited about it. I mean, I think the thing about 1.0 is that there really isn't that, like you said, that much to really
Yeah, we wanted
say.
to make sure that we got a simple release out that was stable, polished, so we could start focusing on what's next. Some crazy stuff ahead. So you could rely on this version, and we can go and work on some more experimental things.
Exactly. And we have a lot of exciting experimental things in store.
Right. So we will be doing a ton of posts about 1.0, so this is not the last you'll hear about it. But definitely check it out, especially if you were waiting because it was in beta RC. Now is the time to use Ionic.
For sure. Oh, and support for it. We will be supporting 1.0 for a long time.
Yeah.
So yeah, just so that's clear. Okay, I think we can get into the Q&A.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to get into. I feel like we just wanted to talk about 1.0, make sure we celebrated a bit and went through everything that's new.
Trust me, we're celebrating.
We are celebrating. So let's get into the question and answers.
Yes.
So I posted on the forum a little while ago, and I basically asked you guys, what do you want to know? What questions do you have for us? We'll hang out and answer them and go through them. So are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I'm ready. All right, let's do it.
All right, first question.
Should you provide some stickers, t-shirts, for people who will make presentations on programmer conferences about Ionic?
So basically, will we provide swag for people to distribute at conferences?
Yeah, or people who go and speak about on behalf of Ionic.
Yeah.
Which there are a lot of you who do that.
So we've done that before, and I think we'd like to support it where possible. I think shirts and stuff are expensive. They're wasteful on the environment, so we don't like to just print lots of shirts if we don't have to. But I think we want to send stickers, cheaper items that are a little bit more friendly. We'll probably end up doing more of that, but we don't have an official policy yet. But we'll definitely keep that in mind.
Yeah, and if you are going to be speaking on Ionic, just get in touch with us and shoot us an email, hi@ionicframework.com, and we'll respond back to you. So.
Yeah, one thing I just forgot. We want to do like meetup starter packs. So if you're starting a meetup, we want to give you like a starter pack of swag. So that I think is probably higher up on the list right now for us.
For sure.
Cool.
Jinx. So, all right, next question is, what are your plans for Windows Mobile and other mobile platforms? Will we see a common code base that can run transparently across all major platforms? So we kind of went over Windows. Well, let me, sorry, cutting you off.
It's okay.
I'm going to cut you off.
All right.
We have basic Windows support is in 1.0. So, and we're really proud about that and happy about that. But we can do way better and we can do way more in the future versions of Ionic that we're going to be working on.
What we have today in Windows Phone is not like Windows Phone look and feel. So that will come later. But I think the question about common code base is more interesting. And I can't, spill any beans, but we would like to expand on what Ionic can do, not just on mobile and not just on the major platforms. So it's definitely something we're thinking about. I don't have any official information to release just now, but we are thinking about how we can pull that off. So stay tuned.
Yeah, we have some exciting things in the works, but we're not going to let the cat out of the bag yet. So next question. Any desktop GUI to replace the command line? No. Definitely not.
Never.
I don't think that's something we are ever going to do.
I don't see that ever happening. Probably not ever.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Next question. How have you seen Ionic grow in the past year? This is a fun one.
Yeah. It's been kind of crazy.
Yeah.
The framework itself has reached over 16,000 stars. It's number 37, I think, on GitHub, most popular repos. We are seeing people download and install the SDK like over 100,000 times every single month. There have been over 600,000 apps started from our SDK.
It's just like that.
It's crazy.
Blows my mind.
Yeah, we're seeing lots of traffic to the site. The blog is kind of blowing up. So we are kind of blown away. I think Ionic is proving that web developers rule the world. And we are so humbled by all the support. All we want to do is make your life easier. And we're so glad that that's what you want too. So we want to do more of it. So it's been a wild ride. I don't think any of us ever expected to be where we are today.
And honestly, we wouldn't really be where we are today without all of you.
Yeah.
Like, you are also the reason why Ionic is what it is and is as successful as it is and will continue to be. So thank you.
Cheers to that.
That's right. Lots of cheering going on today.
Might as well. Makes up for the tea from last time.
That's right.
Sorry.
I don't want to talk about that. Okay, so next question. What part will be free/charged? And what's up with the backend stuff? That is a loaded question.
Basically, if you haven't heard yet, we are building this suite of backend services and tools for Ionic. Like, the idea is that we want Ionic to do everything that you need it to do, from the front end to the tooling to services like push notifications, things like that. Mm-hmm. So we've been working on the push notification thing. We've had a ton of people use it. It's the most mature service, and we're actually going to be releasing that soon in a more open beta. So push is really our first major one. And people keep asking about pricing. We aren't really pushing pricing just yet. It's still going to be in beta, still going to be free, but we are planning on keeping it in line with every other push service for the most part. So I don't think there'll be any surprises there.
Yeah, no surprises there. And I think it's worth mentioning, we're never going to charge for the framework. And I feel like we sometimes we get that question a lot. Like, when are we going to like flip the switch and make Ionic cost money to use? That's never going to happen. We are never going to charge for the SDK with framework. It'll always be free and open source and available to all of you.
And if we do charge, we'll just fork it anyway. So why would we even try?
There you go.
So that's not going to happen. So don't worry about that. But the backend stuff, we
are going to charge for the backend stuff.
Yeah.
We do plan to, and that's how we'll make money.
Yeah. So we will announce all that stuff way ahead of time. So right now everything's just free, and we'll keep you updated.
Cool. So I like this question. How performance?
Did they ask about performance?
Yes.
Okay, performance.
Yeah.
So performance is obviously really, really important. And I think, we get asked it a lot. And to be honest, we are the ones focusing on it more than anyone else. We are very, very focused on performance. So what we've done recently is the native scrolling stuff. So we dropped JavaScript scrolling, at least as the only option. So you can use the actual native scrolling of the web view. So this is a huge plus on Android. The only downside is if you're using collection repeat, it doesn't work with native scrolling just yet. So if you want to use collection repeat, you'll need to enable the JavaScript scrolling, which is easy to do. But beyond that, that'll have a huge impact.
Yeah.
We've also tightened up a lot of the animations. We have improved some of the pull to refresh, other things like that. So going forward and thinking ahead a little bit, as we look at Ionic 1, 1.1, and then Ionic 2 in the future, performance is the number one concern. It's one reason why we're so excited about Angular 2. It's just a lot faster, and it does a lot less. So that's one reason why we are so eager to move to it, because being a hybrid app framework, we can use all the performance we can get. Mm-hmm. So it's our number one focus, and you'll see a lot more of it in the future. At the same time, all the phones are getting faster. So it's a good time to be doing hybrid development, and we're incredibly excited about performance trends that we're seeing on the phones.
Yeah. So to be clear, to distill all of that down, we absolutely are always working and trying to improve performance. We care about it a lot, and it's only going to get better over time. So I think that answers that. It was about performance, right?
That one I think was about performance.
Okay, cool.
And we answered it, I think.
Cool.
Good.
So what's the future of Ionic? I know this is a very broad question, but I would like to know your plans about maintaining version 1.0 and what new awesome features 2.0 might bring, and along with that AngularJS 2.0. So we kind of just talked a little bit about that, but I could basically give you the lowdown. It's just going to be way faster. We're going to add a lot more platform continuity improvements. We're probably going to add a lot more Windows Phone support, although we do already have some basic Windows Phone support. Future plans for the framework are basically just continuing to, like we just talked about, improve performance. And again, integrate Angular 2. We're already working on a lot of that behind the scenes right now. In terms of maintaining version 1.0, we did talk about that earlier.
I mean,
we will be maintaining 1.0.
1.0 is the only version that matters right now. It's the only one people are using. It's why people like Ionic. So it's the most important thing to us, and that's never going to change. At the same time, the space is moving quickly, and Angular's been out for 5 years? Its existence.
Yeah.
So okay, version 2 is coming after 5 years of development. That's pretty natural. And I think what we're seeing from version 2 is that it's going to kind of level us all up with web standards and ES6, and we're going to have object-oriented code. It's going to be a lot easier for people to write Angular apps and Ionic apps, which is the only thing we care about. We are focused on being the easiest way to build mobile apps, so we will do whatever it takes to go further in that direction. I will say that when it comes to some of the future plans that we have for the framework, I think we actually want to keep the core pretty simple and small. Where we have a core component set, much like you'd see on the iOS SDK. There's only a core set of buttons, and a lot of the custom components are built from the community.
Well, we could talk a little bit about the add-ons idea that we're working on.
So we want to make it easy to build add-ons, build new components, and add them to your app. So we have a simple, stable core with a few solid components like we have now, and then you can add on all these different components, use all these different templates. That's where we want to go.
So without fear of potentially upsetting someone, what type of stuff do you think might not make it into the core version of Ionic 2.0? What stuff might make sense to be an add-on? Because I think there's a lot of like potential for us to make Ionic more plug and play. You know, you take what you need, but it's not this massive like conglomerate of like components all like shoved together into one massive thing. You know, what sort of stuff do you think might be like, add-onable?
I think the slide box is one where it kind of solves some people's problems, but a lot of people are looking for like an image carousel. So something like the slide box makes more sense as a third-party component. I think that's kind of the main one. You have a few of these like custom tab style interfaces that are a little bit more specific to certain apps, Tinder cards, things like that.
Yeah.
Those definitely fit as third-party add-ons. And the nice thing is you can work on them in parallel with the framework, where like if a component has a problem, it doesn't actually break the framework for everyone else. So it improves stability over the long term, which is a really big win.
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. I will say, last but not least, we want Ionic to run on a lot more things, and that's all I'm going to say. We have a ton of plans to go in that direction, and
I'm going to cut you off there.
Yep.
So next question is, what is your opinion on React Native?
I think it's super cool. It makes it easy to build native apps with JavaScript. I think it's going to be quite popular tool. A lot of people are going to use it. It's well made. It's got some really interesting concepts. If you're familiar with Titanium, Accelerator Titanium, or NativeScript, or things like that, you'll be very familiar with React Native. I think when it comes to Ionic, it's definitely a different vision than we have. It's not a web framework. It uses JavaScript, but that's kind of where the similarities end. We are trying to make it easy to build high-quality apps using the standard web stack, HTML5, JavaScript, and CSS. So we want any web developer that knows how to build websites to be able to build high-quality mobile apps for the app stores, and this is kind of a departure from that, which is totally awesome, because they are validating building apps in custom third-party SDKs. So it's just better for all of us that they're adding more validation for not building an iOS app, for not building a Android app with Java. It just kind of further proves the point that
nobody wants to do that.
It's so stupid to build an Objective-C app, a Java app, a Windows app, and have all these different code bases. It just doesn't make sense. So they are in
many ways, we share the same vision in that respect.
So we have the same vision in that respect. I think how we get there and the tools that we use are just different. So Ionic wants to be the easiest way for web developers to build mobile apps, and I think we are going to exist in perfect harmony.
Cool. So next question is, how about material design support?
Yeah, so we've been getting a lot of questions about this. We are working on integrating it, and we're doing it slowly.
I think it's going to be something that comes after, more officially comes after 1.0 is out.
Yeah, the challenge is really that material design, the spec, is very, very broad. So implementing it perfectly is difficult.
It's also in flux.
It's also in flux. So as we are starting to think about 2.0, we have to discuss whether it makes sense to kind of enhance our current component set with material design, or actually use something more a dramatic like re-implementation like material design or Ionic Material, which...
Yeah, we should call out. Ionic Material is an awesome project that exists right now. I think the URL is ionicmaterial.com. I'll double check that. But you can go to it, and there's a guy building it, and he's basically taking Ionic components, Ionic 1.0 components, and turning them into material design components. So it's still Ionic under the hood, but visually it looks like Ionic Material, or Material Design. Just double checking. Yeah, ionicmaterial.com. Check it out. It's really awesome. We were really impressed by it. I think when some of the team was at NGConf, we actually met the guy who's building it.
Ooh, that's snappy.
Yeah, it's very snappy. Zach Fitzgerald. Hope I didn't butcher that.
You butchered it.
I did.
Check it out. I think when it comes to actually NG material, we are currently trying to fix some issues with gesture support between the two projects, and we'll see what happens there. No timeline yet, but I think when it comes to Ionic 2, material design will be a much bigger part of what we offer there. So stay tuned.
Sure. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so I think this is the last question. It's a bit longer one. I found it.
We can just kind of summarize.
We can summarize. So basically, the question is, I found it. Being new to JavaScript and Angular, I found it difficult to get up and running with the framework. What's the future of learning with Ionic look like? Basically, how do I learn to use Ionic quicker? What resources are available to me? This is a great question, and there's a ton. I don't even know where to begin. One thing we could talk about quickly is the new book that's about to come out by Jeremy Wilkin, which is Ionic in Action, and it's the preview version is available. You can look at it now. It's not quite done. It's almost done. I'd say it's almost out. But Jeremy Wilkin's writing it. He's an awesome Ionic developer, and it's being published by Manning, a great publisher. And we've been working fairly closely with them, and we're really excited about this book. It basically goes over everything you need to know about using Ionic 1.0. You build, I think, 3 apps all the way through, and he covers basically all the things that you might need to know.
Yes, that is a really, really awesome book that's coming out soon.
Yeah.
We need to mention the other one, which is Developing an Ionic Edge by Bleeding Edge Press. That one is actually out now, and you build this really great Instagram style app. So definitely check that out. We will post the links in the video here, and we hope that helps you get up and running.
Yeah.
But kind of speaking at a higher level, going forward, a lot of people ask us about, how does Ionic fit in with the rest of the ecosystem? How much JavaScript do I need to know? How much Angular do I need to know? And I think our ultimate vision is that Ionic doesn't stay just a framework for Angular. That's how we started. That's how we got off the ground. Our bigger vision is that Ionic is really the easiest, best, fastest mobile development suite for web developers. And in the future, even people who don't really know how to build websites yet. And we have a lot to do to get to that point. And some of the things that we're going to do in the meantime are dramatically improve our documentation and simplify it, because right now it kind of assumes a level of knowledge that's too high. So simplifying our documentation, building much simpler tutorials. So we're working on a whole new developer zone, we're calling it, that has bite-sized tutorials, guides, everything you need to get up and running. The playground tool that we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah, we should talk about that soon.
Because one of the biggest problems with using Ionic is installing all the dependencies. And if you haven't ever built a mobile app before, it's daunting. Some of those things are out of our hands. Like, we can't make installing Android and iOS easier because we don't control those at all. And they have different licensing. So the playground helps you get up and learning Ionic way before you have to go and install anything. So we are going to be doing a lot more when it comes to tools and features that can be a better part of the educational process. So we'll talk about the playground in a second.
Yeah, I think another thing to note is videos. We're going to be making a lot more videos on how to get started with Ionic on a Mac, how to get started on Windows, how to build like your first app basically. And using videos as a means to teach is like a great option. A lot of people really, really like that. I myself am one of those people. I like watching videos and following along someone who's like teaching me how to build something. So we are investing a lot of time into also making just a whole ton of new videos, and those will be coming out pretty soon as well.
Several big educational sites are working on Ionic courses right now. And
Linda, I think, is working on potentially.
Yeah, so also there's a Pluralsight course out there. So we just need to do a much better job of actually telling people these things exist and actually having official ones that we've helped make.
And we'll put all these links, all this information in the description of the video, so you can just go down there, click them, and look around and see for yourself. Last but not least, the forum's a great place to be as well. Ask questions, IRC. There's always people hanging out there talking, chatting, and are always willing to help. So I think we should talk about Playground.
Let's talk about Playground. So that's all the questions we had.
Yeah, that sums it up.
We had a lot more questions, but things got a little wild. We couldn't answer every single question, so we hope that answers most of them.
And maybe we'll do another one.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll do it again.
Cool.
All right, let's move on.
Playground. Let's talk about it.
All right, so the Playground, we just launched last week.
It's funny because we actually kind of had been working on, so little secret, the Playground used to be called the Scratchpad. And we built it almost over a year ago internally, and we were using it on some of our Learn websites to
embed.
Yeah,
it's more of an embedded tool.
Exactly. And so I think recently you pulled me aside and you were like, hey, I think there's really something interesting here. I think we need a better way to give people the ability to build Ionic apps just in the browser, where it's faster, more efficient. They don't have to install anything. It knows Ionic.
Well, so on that note, going back to the question about React Native, one of the biggest advantages of Ionic and tools like Ionic that are based on like the browser is that you can build real applications in the browser without installing anything on this like totally open platform. And we should be using that to our advantage because it's a huge advantage. So the Playground lets you do that rapid application development without installing anything. It's probably the fastest way to build a mobile app that we know of. So we're going to be adding a ton of features for starting projects, testing them in the View app, all these crazy things, many of the ideas that you've posted in the comments. Mm-hmm. We're going to be doing a lot of that stuff.
We're so excited by how excited you all are about the Playground. So
yeah, it kind of blew up.
Yeah, it did. And I'm really happy about that. We're really proud about that. So yeah, next steps is adding a lot more of those things that you guys all were asking for. So we're going to get to that in the coming months. So keep an eye out for Playground stuff. It's an awesome new tool. If you haven't checked it out, I think it's just play.ionic.io. Cool.
Pretty simple.
So let's talk about Visual Studio and Ionic integration. This is a big deal, and it's been a long time coming. We've been working on this behind the scenes for a while now with the Visual Studio team in order to get these Ionic templates added to Visual Studio. I think ever since they added Cordova support into Visual Studio not too long ago, we kind of piqued our interest. And ever since then, we've been working with the team to make sure that the experience on Windows was as awesome as possible, specifically in Visual Studio. And I think we're actually there.
Yeah. So when I tried it out on Windows, I was blown away by how easy Visual Studio made installing all of the dependencies. So probably the number one problem that we deal with, and we love you Windows developers, but the number one problem is installing the dependencies for Ionic on Windows. It's a pain in the ass. There's Node.js, there's Ionic, the command line tool, there's Cordova. You have to install Android, Java, it's just a lot of stuff. And Visual Studio has this awesome dependency installation. You literally click the buttons, you hit next, and all that stuff installs for you.
Yeah.
So we want you to use Visual Studio if you're on Windows, because it will save us the heartache of just not being able to help the dependency installation on Windows.
Very passionate about it.
I'm very passionate about it because I want it to be incredibly easy, and this makes it easy.
For sure.
And beyond that, actually developing and testing in the tool is very, very fast. So, and you can still use the command line. I think there's a healthy balance where you use Visual Studio to develop and debug and install everything, and you can still use the Ionic command line to do the longer term development and testing on the device. And then when you go to a Mac for testing on iOS, all that stuff. So we are incredibly excited about it. We have an official template in the Visual Studio template gallery. We will be doing a lot more. We will be working a lot more closely with the Visual Studio team at Microsoft.
Which, by the way, has been really, really fun. It's been awesome to work with them, awesome to get to know them. They're doing big things. They really care a lot about the developer experience and developing hybrid apps. So we're just really excited all around.
Yeah, Cordova's getting some major love over there. So we are excited to help out.
Cool. So the Ionic Shop.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. We just put it live a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And people are grabbing stuff from it. Actually, where do I have something here? Here we go. This is on the Ionic Shop. And it's the most comfortable t-shirt I think I've ever worn. And this isn't the only one that we have on there. So why don't we give some backstory? We wanted to put this up because a lot of people want t-shirts and they want Ionic swag. They They want Ionitron swag. So we had all these t-shirts made and continually being made all the time, every time you order a t-shirt. And we knew there needed to be just like a great way for people to come and get these t-shirts, whether you're putting on a event or organizing some sort of group meetup, or you just want to support Ionic or Ionitron. You can come to the shop.
He needs your support.
He does need your support. It's shop.ionic.io. Check it out. We do ship internationally, finally.
Yes. That's why we set it up, because
yeah.
we can drop ship through this one company, Print Faction. That makes it incredibly easy for us to actually ship internationally, which was very, very difficult before. So they help us out with all of that. We're really excited. If you ordered, we are doing a print and ship here very soon. So just give us a little bit of time, because we're just getting it set up. We're moving quickly, so you'll have one of these amazing shirts.
Seriously, it's the most comfortable shirt I think I own. I don't know why I'm not wearing it right now.
That's a good question.
Our cameraman Brody is wearing his right now. Brody, I'm going to film him real quick so we can see.
Let's see that shirt.
Say hi, Brody. Yeah, so you guys can get your shirts. So stickers. We don't have stickers on there yet. We're working to get stickers added. We will add stickers at some point in the future. I'm thinking we will. We would like to.
We would like to. Whether we do or not, I think that's a good question.
Maybe it's up to the community.
We'll see what you think. Let
us know. If you want stickers, we will add them. So I think that sums it up for the shop. All the main things we wanted to talk about.
Let's move on.
Can we get to what everyone's been waiting for us to talk about? Beer.
So we have some pretty incredible beer here today. Very special, very rare. This is from actually a local company called Mobcraft, and they do crowdsourced brewing. Basically, you vote on these crazy flavors, crazy beers, and then they make the best one and send them. So
today, so I'm having the batshit crazy coffee ale, which is an English style brown ale, brewed with milk, sugar, and flavored with coffees from a local coffee shop called Just Coffee.
And I'm having a little bit more of the Don Durio's Filthy Mustachio, made with durian and cashew pilsner. So I guess the durian is this crazy fruit that smells god-awful, but tastes actually delicious. So I think they were like one of the first people to actually make a beer out of it. So if you go to mobcraftbeer.com, you can check out the other crazy things they've had. They've made some amazing stuff. So you can see we blew through 2 bottles like nothing. So it's really good stuff.
Yeah, well, we're celebrating. So 1.0's out.
Cheers.
Cheers. I think that sums it up for today, right?
I think that's it. Let's get back to work. We've got a framework to build.
We do. We have a lot more exciting things to build too. So we will see you all next time.
Cheers.